This is your sign. The journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first step, and the first step is always the hardest. Hi, welcome back to Sweet Infinity. My name is Kieran, and I am doing a daily reading of one of my tarot decks or one of my oracle decks to read some cards, give you an interpretation, and I hope that it resonates for you. Today, I'll be reading from the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. This is a deck that I got, I think, in 2023. It's a beautiful deck. The artwork is by an artist named Rasuli, and the deck was created by Kelly Sullivan Walden. I'll show you. The cards are very large. Okay, so it comes in a box like that. Comes with a booklet, pretty decent booklet. Has detailed explanation of each card. It's an oracle deck, which means that it's entirely based on the interpretation by the artists. So they're big cards. They're pretty much the size of my entire hand. If you see the artwork on here, it's absolutely gorgeous, magical, unique, and surreal. This is based on the Joseph Campbell idea for the hero's journey. So Joseph Campbell was a thinker, writer, philosopher, and he came up with the idea of the hero's journey. I mean, he didn't come up with it, but he discovered it. And he basically said that in all stories throughout the world, there are certain similarities. He called it the hero's journey, where there's a character in any story who kind of leaves his or her normal world, ordinary world, goes out on a quest of some kind, or goes to retrieve something, or goes to find something. And then how that develops and how the story develops, there's a kind of a structure that exists, and it's sort of tied to human psyche and our growth as a species over time, and how we used stories to convey information from generation to generation. It's actually quite interesting. I'm going to read you a little bit from this guidebook, and then we'll get into the card reading. So in this Hero's Journey Dream Oracle guidebook, the writer Kelly Sullivan Walden writes, "In our modern culture, your hero's journey might be the quest to provide for your family in the face of instability, or the discovery of resourcefulness as you face disaster, illness, aging, or the death of a loved one. Your noble path might find you amid infertility, heartbreak, the devastation of infidelity, substance addiction, a marriage on the rocks, or having to dig your way out of debt. On the other hand, sometimes you are thrust into the hero's journey when you receive the things you've been praying for. Beholding a blessing can be just as challenging as the aforementioned difficulties, like getting accepted into the graduate program you've had your heart set on, meeting and marrying the love of your life, achieving success in the pursuit of your creative dreams and passions, or coping with the new identity that comes with the birth of a child, or a windfall of wealth. The ordinary person on an ordinary path also endures stresses and difficulties, but the pain they encounter is compounded by a sense of purposelessness. Additionally, when the going gets tough, it is ordinary to throw in the towel, tuck your tail between your legs, and run for cover. The hero is dedicated to a noble cause and has a sense something higher is orchestrating their journey. The hero derives meaning from challenge, and this gives him or her the strength to keep putting one foot in front of the other in dedication to something greater than themselves. You might not be the type to run a 5-kilometer or 10-kilometer, but if a loved one was diagnosed with a form of cancer, you would be more likely to attempt the race for the cure than you would if you were running for exercise or ego gratification. A noble cause gives us the impetus to access the hidden strength within when we might otherwise say no way. The hero knows the adventurous realm he or she is entering can be a path to the true self, as well as a grander purpose that will carry them across the finish line. The idea is that even though this is based on story structure, there's something about the hero's journey that all of us can relate to. And that's what this oracle deck is based on. So I will shuffle the deck and we can get started. It's a little difficult for me to shuffle because the cards are so big. So I'm going to do it this way, where you hold it and you go like this. Okay, in the meantime, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Please share this with friends, family, your social media accounts, wherever you spend time. I would love it if you would share this video. If you are into storytelling, also leave me a comment about what you like about the hero's journey, or if there's another kind of story structure that you prefer. I know there's, for example, the 3-act structure. There are other structures and ways of writing from around the world. Let me know what you're into and hit the notification bell and leave me a comment. That helps boost the video. I'm also going to leave links for purchasing this deck in the description below. They are going to be affiliate links. So if you are going to purchase this deck, I would really appreciate it if you would get it through those links. That way I get a tiny percentage of what you end up paying anyway. You don't have to pay anything extra, and it really helps support this channel. So thank you. Okay, let's pick a couple of cards, see what comes up, and then I'll interpret it. And I'll also read from the book for you. So the first one that I picked up is Weird is the New Cool. So there's all kinds of different messages that you can grasp and you can read your own meaning into. This one's called Afterglow. Land gracefully. And this one says, become the elixir. Let your glow do the heavy lifting. So let's start with these 3. I'm going to read from the book and then we'll continue. Weird is the new cool. Boldly express your uniqueness. So there's a quote from Jack Kerouac. The only people for me are the mad ones, the ones who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time, the ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn like fabulous yellow Roman candles exploding like spiders across the stars. Message for this card. You've had a golden experience, one which seems impossible to describe. Yet be reminded of the biblical phrase, to the one to whom much has been given, much is expected. It is your sacred duty to find the words, or at least the symbols, and courage to express them to your tribe, and to the parts of yourself that didn't go on this adventure. If you are called strange or odd behind your back, then so be it. Weird is a mantle to wear proudly, because in being true to yourself, you might inspire someone else to be more of themselves. When you peer outside the confines of the ordinary world, you encourage others to recognize there is joy in being themselves. The word weird comes from the Old English weird, W-Y-R-D, which means fate, chance, fortune, destiny, and one who stands in both worlds. Be emboldened to be your weird self, for it is the weird ones who bring forward noteworthy contributions. Okay, so there are dream symbols that are also mentioned in this book. I won't get into that too much because there's a whole set of guidelines for how to use your dreams to work with this deck and use the symbology in this deck to have lucid dreams. And it's really cool. It's a great deck if you're into learning more about your dreams and wanting to create a narrative and understanding yourself through your dream work. But I'll just read you the description for the other cards. So the next one we had was Afterglow. Land gracefully. And the quote here is, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or in foul, in good times or in tempests, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, by Howard Thurman. The message, coming home with the elixir after a soul-altering experience requires consciousness, attention, and care. You've been changed, yet the world you're returning to has remained pretty much the same, like an airplane coming in for a landing, having sailed over oceans and deserts and forests. If the pilot brings consciousness to the landing, it can be graceful, even though the craft is hitting solid asphalt. Returning home from a powerful inner or outer journey may seem like the time to let go, but this stage takes as much consciousness as the rest. To make your re-entry as smooth as possible, go out of your way to be gentle with yourself as you integrate slowly back to the ordinary world. That's interesting about coming back to the world after having gone on a journey or a spiritual quest or a physical travel, and then coming back, and how do you integrate back into the normal world. Next we have become the elixir. And the line down here says, let your glow do the heavy lifting. The quote, this wonderful elixir of light is the thing that actually connects the immaterial with the material, that connects the cosmic to the plain everyday existence that we try to live in. James Turrell. Message for this card. You've had life-altering experiences, learned libraries worth of knowledge, and are now incalculably wealthy, spiritually and otherwise. It probably feels selfish to keep all this life-affirming wisdom to yourself. If you could, through osmosis, you would transmit the contents of your journey, every experience, trial, and reward, to every person you meet. And yet, if you share when uninvited, your gifts will fall upon deaf ears. Honor the wisdom you've earned and learned while honoring the people in your circle of life by remembering that you are the elixir without having to say a word or do a single thing. You are the medicine, blessing, and presence that soothes the hearts, minds, and souls of all you meet. You are so steeped in the elixir that you do the work simply by beaming and showing up. Let's pick one more card somewhere in the middle of the deck. That's nice. It says, you've won the lottery. Make room for wonderment. Assuming it's a spiritual lottery. Quote is, gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. The message for this card. If you think about it, you have an unending list of things for which to be grateful. In fact, if you could really see, you'd fall to your knees in absolute wonderment at the blessings in your life. The secret to having more is not strategizing on how to get the green grass on the other side of the fence. Radical gratitude is about beholding the miracle of the grass growing on your side of the fence. To rise to a higher level, you may even add your challenges and struggles to your gratitude list. With radical gratitude, you realize you are more abundant than you could have ever imagined. You've already won the lottery. You may have thought radical gratitude would be a threat to your ambition, a bucket of ice on your fire to achieve more. That is not so. Gratitude is magnetic. It will bring you the best things in life and give you even more to be grateful for in a never-ending upward spiral of awe. Wow. Beautiful words. Incredible artwork. I love this deck. Let's see the kind of holistic way of looking at these 4 cards today. We have Weird is the New Cool, Afterglow or Land Gracefully. Then we have the Elixir, Become the Elixir. And we have You've Won the Lottery. Beautiful cards. So what I like to do with these cards, with all of them, but especially with this deck, is I like to meditate when I do a reading for myself. I will sit and meditate, visualize, speak to the cards. Sometimes I'll journal or write about what I'm learning, or I might look up some of the symbology that's mentioned in the book or that's on the cards. And I'll just kind of let my subconscious mind or my inner intuitive voice, whatever you want to call it, take me where it needs to go. Or sometimes I'll go to sleep. I'll do a reading and then I'll go to sleep and I'll see something in my dreams that connects to what I've been going over. And I find that that's a nice way to attach meaning of these cards to the meaning of my dreams. But since we're doing a reading here, what I'm seeing is that there is definitely some kind of shift that you have experienced. I'm seeing this in the last 3 to 4 years has happened. The past 3 to 4 years, something majorly changed in your life. And maybe it's a change that has been slowly revealing itself, or something that happened all of a sudden. But there's definitely been a shift. You are a very different person from what you used to be 3 to 4 years ago. Your outlook on the world has changed. Your outlook on life has changed. In some ways, I feel like with the Elixir card, especially this one, that you are trying to share that with the world. And maybe some are not ready for it. There might be some people who are ready for it, even in your family, even among your peers, even among people who you have generally in the past had so much in common with. They might still not be ready to hear your message. You might have to give them time. But at the same time, you don't have to feel bad about it because they'll come around when they're ready. And they know that you are there to help them when they're ready, which is so important because a lot of times we have questions and we don't know who to trust. We don't know where the answers are. Even in today's day and age where there's the internet, there's so many avenues of information, a lot of times we still don't know who to trust for that particular query that we might have. Unless it's something very basic, like how to fix a washing machine or something, in which case you should probably call a professional anyway. But you know what I mean? Like, unless it's something mechanical, when it comes to deeper things, when it comes to things we're not sure about, it's a little difficult to figure out what to trust. And usually people go with the people they know, whether it's in their community or family or friend circle or their church or their mosque or whatever. Or they find a way to do their own research. But then a lot of times people do get misdirected, because there is almost too much information out there. So you being somebody who has some of this insight, you don't need to necessarily preach all the time. I'm not saying you do that, but you know what I mean? Like, you can make yourself available to those who are ready and let them come to you. And be a role model. People learn more by what you do than what you say. So be a role model. Teach by example. Lead by example. And then we have weird is the new cool. So there's some people who will just call you weird, right? Just embrace it, because a lot of times weird just means somebody who is wise, wiser than others around them. And a lot of times weird people are the ones that everybody looks back at and says, oh, wow, she was ahead of her time. She knew what she was talking about. She was right. He knew what he was saying. He had his finger on the pulse. So be weird. It's okay. Yeah, so become the elixir. And then I love the you've won the lottery card, obviously. Like, who doesn't, right? But this is not just about financial lottery, although you might have come across some kind of fortune, which would be great, good for you, or won an actual lottery, which would be great. It also could be about just the fact that being here is a lottery win itself. If you can watch this video, that means you have some form of vision or auditory capacity, and you speak the language that I'm speaking, or you have some kind of way to translate what I'm saying, and you have the technology and the internet access and devices that you can watch this on or hear this on. All these things are not to be taken for granted. They all came out of centuries of development and struggle and all kinds of things. And then your ability to be able to use your senses, pay attention, make sense of what's being said to the extent that I'm making sense. These are all abilities that also should not be taken for granted. So that's already winning the lottery. Just you being born, just you existing is a lottery that you won. I know it might not always feel that way, but it's true. And as long as you are on this earth, you have some choice about what you can do with the cards that you were dealt. You may not have controlled all the cards that you were dealt, but you have a choice on how you play the game. And I want to come back to this card too. Afterglow, land gracefully. I love how this figure is flapping his hands kind of like a bird trying to land. Presumably that's the card. But it also could be an angel or some kind of fairy or something, you know? And if we consider the idea of the person coming back with the elixir, some kind of knowledge or truth or solution, and that also looks kind of like an angel, right? Or a fairy, whatever you want to call it. But they both have this wing-like thing. This could also be your own ability to process new information and new wisdom and insights that are coming to you. It might be that you yourself have found yourself at times resistant to the knowledge that the universe is trying to teach you, that God is trying to teach you. Sometimes we have to learn a lesson over and over before it sinks in. I know I've had to do that. There have been lots of times where I've had to do that. So I feel like this could be you, but it also could be applied to you as if you are having trouble accepting the insight and wisdom that's coming towards you. So you need to kind of like let it land, you know what I mean? Be the person who helps the plane land, the person who helps that information get grounded into your soul. Accept the knowledge, accept the truth that you're being faced with. Because you keep learning the same lesson until you learn it. These are figures who are sort of dancing and swirling with all these beautiful colors. And that is also something to remember, is that there's so many colors of blessings that you have, gifts that you've been given, and never to take any of that granted. And to allow yourself to be weird, to be called weird, to allow yourself to be different and not conform to everything expected of you. That's so important. Be thankful and be weird. And allow good blessings and good things to come your way, because they are headed your way. They're already coming in. You just have to make space for them in your life. So that's a reading from the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. There are amazing cards in here. I would love to do another reading for you. Let me know if you're interested in doing one-on-one readings. I am also going to be doing deep dives into the decks, where I'm going to be going through each card. And coming up, there's going to be also other kinds of content here, like art and story that is inspired by my card decks, my tarot and oracle decks. So I would love to see you again. Drop me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, tell me what kind of stuff you like to watch. What are some of your favorite tarot decks or oracle decks if you're into that? And I will be back with another reading for you. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a sweet infinity.